Welcome back to another episode of Trade Talk. Alongside me is Mr. Matthew Francino, and of course, my longtime partner, Mr. Jason Ryback. I'm Keith Dobman. This is Trade Talk. It's hosted on our YouTube channel called Glass Guys. We'd love for you to subscribe, comment, share. Please send us in any ideas for some future shows. But today's episode, the name of today's episode is How to Deal with Tough Customers in the Glass Business. So I'm going to be going over a litany of topics, you guys, that will pertain to different situations dealing, what makes a difficult customer, i.e. whether it's a builder, architect, homeowner. And I think a lot of people that watch this that are in the trades can definitely relate to this if they're in the service industry. Good to see both of you, by the way. I'm excited for today's show.
Good to be seen.
Love the intro. Great intro.
Thank you, Mr. Matt. I appreciate that. And your hair looks great today.
Thank you.
I saw you benching over there. FYI, for anybody that doesn't know, I did put up 225 last week for the first time. 225 Club. Everybody raise their hand if they've done 225.
So we're going to need you to piss in a cup.
All right, so today's topic, like I said, is how to deal with tough customers in the glass business. Jason, what makes a tough customer? Whether it's a builder, architect, or homeowner, give me one thing that categorizes that person as a difficult customer.
I would say first and foremost would be a non-collaborative customer. So in other words, somebody who basically just wants a win and they want everything on their terms. They don't want to work together with you. We see that quite a bit actually with people because they come in at the end. They're on deadlines. There's maybe they've budgeted incorrectly. And so to them, they're almost like trying to run the show saying, this is what's going to happen and this is how it's going to be, not realizing that's just not how it works.
Would you say after all your years of dealing with so-called customers like this, are you able to identify that pretty quickly?
Yes.
And you have some things that you might do or say to be able to combat that or, kind of rein it in a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it depends on the situation, and I think getting them to know that you understand the situation they're in is probably the most important part, because instead of it being them against you, it's everyone together.
Right. Matt, how do you handle a builder? Because, a lot of times when we're dealing with builders, we're one of the last subcontractors to come into the job site. And by this time, their time has almost run out. So a lot of times they apply a lot of pressure on us to hurry up and get in there. How do you handle that when someone's calling you out of the gate? You haven't even got the deal yet, but you can already tell that they are just adamant about hurrying up and getting this done. So they're already talking about completing the job before they've even really gone through the minutia of the project.
In this scenario, I think a lot of things play in our favor, one being the manufacturing capabilities we have, because we're one of the only people out there that can get glass on time, get glass quickly, and really work around any issues that might arise surrounding that. On top of that, we have a great installation crew, a dedicated installation crew, which a lot of guys don't have. They're just working out of the back of their vans. So I actually, when there is a time crunch, I feel like it plays to our advantage, and they can sense that when they're talking to me, almost like they're trying to rattle or shake you up when, well, we got a deadline we got to meet. Awesome. That's what we can help you with that.
I have to say, I was not expecting you to throw this answer, and I love it. It's a fucking awesome answer, and good for you. That's really good. Yeah. Jay, dealing with price pushback, I think everybody can relate with that. That is a very common, I think, negotiating thing that most people do, even if they don't think they're trying to do that. Like, what are some things that you do to push back on price when someone's pushing back on price?
Well, I think it's good to get the person to identify that it's not just price. Like we've said it before, price is what you pay, value is what you get, right? They have to understand that you might pay someone else 3/4 of our price, but what are you going to end up paying later on? Meaning, are they going to charge you every time they have to come out and make an adjustment in because maybe they didn't install it properly, but they have to keep adjusting something. Customer service, things that you can't put a number on. Those are the things that you kind of have to get them to identify that they're getting value in that.
I like that answer. So a lot of these things could be categorized as making a customer difficult. Another one that we see is turning a bad situation around. A lot of times we've been put into situations, Matt, you've seen this recently, where a job opportunity will start off as something that looks positive, but something doesn't feel right. And then you start getting into the deal and you're like, man, this is a bad situation. What is a tactic that you might deploy to kind of help turn that situation around?
Well, one that I've employed myself that has worked very well and I've seen you guys use is when the customer perceives that a situation is going sour or negative and it's not really our fault. A great question is, how would you like me to help this? Or how would you like me to fix this? Because then, anyone could scream into the wind all the problems and the complaints they have. But once you ask them how, then the empathy is being shared to them. Man, yeah, how should he get this done? If it's a ridiculous ask and you just ask them how, it puts them, it makes them sit back and go, yeah, how would I get that done?
Yeah, because when you say how, you're not saying you won't do it.
Right.
But you're also not saying you will do it.
Yeah.
And so you're not showing your cards yet. You're asking that, what is it that you're expecting me to do? Because maybe I can do it. I love that tactic. It preserves everybody's autonomy. It doesn't push this negative situation even further down the hole.
And then I mean, on top of that, if someone is to answer that question, well, I don't know, just figure it out. Okay, now we know this is someone that is not collaborative and they're going to be shelved next time they come around and, possibly won't do work with them. So
Chris Voss would be very proud of you. Jay, managing unrealistic expectations from homeowners. Somebody that might not have any clue about the construction process. Maybe they're no offense to a government employee or an accountant. They just knows nothing about a toolbox or anything about construction at all. And we've had this over the years. How do you deal with customers like that, especially when it's a high ticket item?
Well, I think Matt just said it very well. How am I supposed to do that? Because it does turn them around and gets them thinking, oh, well, this isn't very realistic. Now, if they don't understand it, obviously you have to educate them as to why you can't do something like that. But I think a good start is getting their opinion on how you're supposed to do that, because maybe, like you said, maybe it is something we can do. Maybe we're not thinking of it and they have an idea. And if it is their idea that they've presented, they're more likely to buy into it.
I want to follow up one with you, just because you have more experience in this than Matt, being in this industry in particular. We've made mistakes ourselves. Nobody's perfect. No trade is perfect.
Right.
We have made mistakes. What's one of the keys to not only fixing a mistake, but regaining the customer's trust after realizing that we fucked up or made a mistake? Or maybe one of the installers did.
Well, first and foremost, regaining the customer's trust involves admitting you made the mistake. Because if you're trying to hide something, then you're never going to get the trust back, right? So you need to first admit the mistake, let them know how you're going to fix it. And oftentimes when a mistake is made, it's not the mistake, it's how you handle it that is that lasting impression.
I like that. So your tonality, I mean, everything down to your tone, the way that you're talking to them.
Of course.
Your accountability.
Of course. And especially, yeah, you can do certain things like, you're going to kill me. I am about to completely ruin your day. And it can be something very minor, but now they're prepared for, oh my God, what did you do? Did you burn my house down?
So now their brain goes to the worst possible scenario, and then when you tell them what the actual problem is, it's like, oh, that's actually really not that bad.
Yeah, no problem.
Matt, when to walk away from a job? sometimes in the past there's been sometimes the best opportunities that we have or jobs that we have is the ones that we walked away from, because we know it's eliminated many problems for us to gain. What are a couple red flags, or a red flag, and then Jay can follow up with another one, that you might see or hear to cause you to, you know what, maybe this isn't the right job for us. Maybe this is a job we should walk away from. And I think this is a good one for a lot of people, because this is a tough time right now to be walking away from any jobs. Everybody wants to take as many possible new opportunities as possible, but you do need to preserve all of our time, our money, and effort. So what is something that might trigger you to say, geez, maybe this is a job that we should be walking away from?
Man, this is a tough one for me to answer, because every opportunity I've been given, I've never turned down. It's just, I've been getting the reps in, learning the process, and understanding how the relationship works. So I've been, when there's a lot of times, we all know there's probably a bunch of deals that I've gotten where it's just like any normal person would have walked away, but I use it as an opportunity to, learn how to overcome this. And even though if I don't get the job, I still had that experience. So my answer is going to probably be a little different, but one of the biggest red flags I would say is just if there's a personality conflict, I want to say. If there's an attitude problem, if someone sees me as their
servant.
Exactly.
Or a piece of shit.
If this isn't collaborative and this is like they're telling me what to do, okay, chances are they're not going to treat the installers much better. Chances are they're going to, hold us hostage or ransom over some minute thing. So how they treat the salesperson as a person, I think could be very telling from the start, but I'm kind of ignoring all the red flags right now. I'm just trying to get it in. So
I agree with you, and
yeah.
I think you're doing a hell of a job with that, but I also agree with the potential, the way they talk to you. That's one. Jay, what about you?
Well, and I think just to expand on that a little bit, like, especially if it's a contractor, say a contractor is talking to you in a manner as your inferior. When you go out to the job site and you see the other subs on the job site and how they're acting, how they're treated, what their work looks like, that's all a result of how they're treated in the beginning.
And you can also tell, so now you see those things, and then you get to the job site and you see the job site looks like a dirty toilet. That is a lack of respect from the tradesman on the job to the builder or customer themselves, which probably plays into how the builder is treating everybody. He doesn't want to pay high-ticket items. He doesn't want to collaborate, doesn't want to meet certain deadlines. And then you see the construction site is just disgusting. So the job foreman's not, collaborative with all the tradesmen, so therefore they're not, doing their best to pick up their trash, or there's just usually a lot of signs that can be seen.
And I'll say there is one other thing that obviously we like to pride ourselves on being able to do things that maybe other companies cannot do. But if someone comes to you with, hey, I went to this place, that place, nobody can do it, and then we start looking at it and it's like, yeah, okay, we can charge a lot of money, but why? Why can't they do it? And I want to explain this a little bit. We just recently had an opportunity. We'd done a bunch of work at a house, and they had a huge custom elevator shaft built, and they had like a specialty glass going in there from like Denmark or something like that. And the elevator people were supposed to install the glass. Well, they backed out of the job. So that right there to me is a red flag. These are people that do this every day and they're backing out. There's a reason for that. What is that reason? So you and I both looked at that, and then we just decided, we could probably get a lot of money for this, but it's not worth it.
Juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Right.
I mean, there's got to be a reason why the company that should have been doing it in the first place isn't.
If I may, I want to follow up on my previous point. I had a very good experience today with Jay when we went out to a site. The builder was there, and right off the bat, he didn't tell me that we needed to come out. He didn't, say, we need you out here on this day. He asked nicely, please, would you be able to make time to come out? We showed up to the site, thanked us again. Very nice, ran to his truck to grab booties so that, you know, I didn't have to take off my shoes and go in the house.
Because he had holes in his socks.
Just, yeah, nasty socks. But the guy was so accommodating. All the other trades that were there were treated well. You could see that people weren't, you know, hating their lives here. But, and I haven't had much experience on the field. So at least seeing sort of a green flag, I think Jay's point was great because, yeah, how other people are being treated or how the builder treats you is a great, you know, it reflects across the whole.
You can see it. When they call
lifespan.
in and they start treating you right, they're not bitching about price. Then you get to the job site. It's organized. Tradesmen are respecting each other. There's no parking issues. There's not trash everywhere. It all just starts lining up.
Yeah, and to what Matt was saying too, you can often tell how a relationship will be with a contractor by seeing how the contractor's relationship is with the homeowner. If the homeowner seems happy, they're joking around, you know, things are jovial, then you know they're probably being treated pretty well, and so will you.
Can you share a story from a lesson that was learned from a difficult project? I mean, you just shared that one from the elevator, but give me another one that maybe people can relate to. It was a difficult situation or a project that you were on that was a big lesson learned.
Ooh, put me on the spot here.
Why you think about that? Matt, tell me the importance of setting managed expectations early on with customers to help. Why that's important.
Great question. Might have just stumped both of us.
Well, come on, we got dead air here. What's going on?
All right.
We can edit
I think I
that
got
Spit it out.
We're gonna edit that out, but I can tell you why expectations are great. I don't know a way to really answer this. I think from the second you answer the phone or the second I answer the phone, I want everything about the call to be completely different. I want them to hear in the tone of my voice that I'm excited that they're calling and that I'm excited about the opportunity of working with them, and I want to work with them on this opportunity. I want to help them out, and I think just right there, that's how we start to build an expectation of, okay, I'm going to be treated well by this salesperson. I think I'm in good hands. He knows what he's talking about, and saying things confidently, even though I might not be sure of something. They are basing their confidence in this job off of my confidence in this job. I want to be the person that when they call, they rely all their faith in this job to me. I want to be the one with the knowledge, with the information, the expert, you could say. So establishing that off the bat, first attitude, I'm ready to take this on, and second, expertise. They should be able to ask me any question, I'll have an answer, because that way they relinquish all their control to me in the situation, and I can get them the best possible product, and it's a collaborative effort. So it took me some time to think about that answer, but there you go.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, I cooked something up.
Good.
It was actually not too long ago. We had a difficult situation where we were installing some glass railings. The builder was a new builder we had never worked with before. Found us online, came in, met with us, ended up sending the customer in. We ended up working directly with the customer at the builder's request. Once we got out and started installing, we found that some of the things that the builder said were done were not actually done. So they were supposed to be double stacked 2x12s on the stair stringer, and it was single, and we actually had to recess the standoffs into there, so it didn't give us enough meat to grab into. The way we handled it, because obviously it's not the customer's fault, but we didn't want to throw the builder under the bus because he's who gave us the job in the first place. So we made the builder aware, but we actually had someone from our team go and put the backing back there with the understanding that the builder and the homeowner would work out who was taking care of patching drywall and things of that nature. And so by not throwing that builder under the bus and taking care of the issue, sometimes you got to take a little hit. We've now since gotten another job from him.
I know this exact job, and it's hard in the moment to say, well, that's not our fault. We shouldn't have to pay for that. Sometimes it's best for everyone to take that hit. And to case in point, in this situation, it's already turned into another opportunity.
Right.
that we haven't closed yet, but we're close to it. You know which one this is. One that she thought the stair treads were included. That job came from this situation. So,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you take the good with the bad. All right, so good job on howling to deal with some of these situations. So for this week's game, Matt started in this new kind of format on Trade Talk. He started these games, which I really enjoy. This game that we're about to play is called Pitch It or Ditch It. And basically, I'm going to give you a couple scenarios. I want to know if you think it's something that we should, you'd say pitch it, which means we're going to keep it, and explain why. And then if you don't like it, you're going to say ditch it. And I also want your reasoning as to why you think we should ditch it. And maybe we have examples of that or what have you. Maybe the psychology behind it.
All right.
So who should we start? Who wants to start first?
I'll go.
All right. A new builder sends us an opportunity. You send them a proposal. You looked at the plans and specs, send a proposal. He calls you back, says, I need to get this going right away. Everything's going to be good. Now, you've never done work for this guy. Okay, so he sent the proposal, he got the plans. He says, everything looks good. Let's get going. But he hasn't signed the proposal, and he keeps kicking it down the road. Are you going to pitch it or ditch it?
I'm going to pitch it.
Okay? And
Because if the contractor is really serious about that, at some point a time element's going to kick in where he has to do something. So that's fine. You keep kicking the can down the road. Eventually you're going to have to do something, and we hope it's with us. And if it's not, then we know that you were never serious in the first place.
he said it was going to be good, but he hasn't given you the written
Right.
proposal.
Right. So we would ask, would you be opposed to sending back a signed proposal so that we can enter this into our system and get things going?
Yeah, I like it. All right, Matt, this one's to you. A client wants you to match a competitor's price, but they're not willing to show you the competitive bid. You're going to pitch it or ditch it?
No, I wouldn't ditch it. I wouldn't necessarily pitch it either, because I'm going to try to retain the deal. I'm going to try to not, bring our price down. But I would still try, but I would not ever match her price without seeing it. Absolutely not. No.
No, because why?
Oh, because they're lying, most likely. And the car dealership down the street has the same car for it's just, these things are common. They're always trying to get a better deal. Our price is never going to be the cheapest, so we are going to be faced with this a lot. Now, if they want to come in and compare apples to apples and provide the quote, then that's collaboration, because you're asking something from me, but I get nothing from you. So let's work this out here. You want something, okay, provide me that bid.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Exactly. Not this transactional, you have to do this for me because I'm the customer.
I like it. All right, Jay, this one's for you. A customer asks for a huge custom mirror, but wants to pick it up, and they don't have a glass truck. You're going to pitch it or ditch it?
Wow. Man, I'd like to say pitch it.
We've seen this. We've put shit in the back of trailers and
I
on
would like
roofs.
to say, well, yes, I'm going to pitch it, and I'll tell you why. Because sometimes a customer does that because they just want to save money. And then they get there and they realize, holy shit, I can't take this. So now it's just another opportunity, because we'd be happy to help. Obviously, you wanted a lower price with you picking it up. So now we're just going to work up what that difference is, and we could potentially help you.
Okay.
So it's another opportunity.
All right, so most of the jobs that we sell, obviously, if it's with a builder that's established with us, they have terms as far as finance or pricing, payments concerned. And with most of our customers, we get a 50% deposit, and then we get 50% on completion. This new customer is a large residential job, and they're willing to pay the price that you want, but they're wanting you to offer financing options. Matt, you going to pitch it or ditch it?
The only thing that throws me off about this one is they're new. That leaves a lot unknown. Financing options. I'm gonna go to an adult for that one. I don't think I can handle it.
Are you talking like they want to put a glass railing system on layaway?
Yes, yes. They want terms.
Well, terms, yeah. I mean,
Like 30% up front? Like, what are we talking?
well, here's the thing. Anytime, I mean, we go through this too. You know, sometimes we'll go and we'll find a new vendor for some new product, and it's something we may be using. So we set up an account, and that with that account comes terms. But in that creation of that account, they want different financials and things like that. So that's okay if the builder is willing or the customer is willing to provide that, and that's something that we're comfortable with, then I don't see a problem with that.
I agree with you. All right, Jay, this one's for you. Now, this is, we're hiring. Not a lot of people hiring these days down here in Southwest Florida. We are. We need to hire. It's going to be for sales on the road. Like my shower door right now is hiring salespeople in a lot of our locations. But if you're in charge, are you hiring someone with great customer service skills, but literally no construction experience? Are you going to pitch it or ditch it?
Jeez, so fortunately, I've been in this situation before.
Yes.
Or unfortunately, however you want to look at it. I think I would ditch it.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Well, I feel like now if it were, this is kind of two-part, because if it were something like on the shower door side of things, it's a little easier to learn all the nuances. But on our architectural side of things, there's a lot of different codes and things like that you just you have to learn that, but you also have to learn like the basics of construction behind this. So there's a lot of learning involved with that, and I feel like it would be easier to find someone with a little bit of both of those.
I agree. I agree with that. There is a big learning curve on understanding all that nomenclature and the construction minutia that goes with the codes. Yeah.
Now, I will say this. A lot of times we hire from within and we promote people from within. So perhaps if this customer has, or this candidate has good customer service skills, and maybe there's another position where we thought, okay, maybe this person in this position can move over. You know, a lot of times you don't want to let good talent walk. So that's a possibility.
Matt, got a new job opportunity. It's 3 hours away from outside of our normal scope of work, but it's a high ticket order, and they're not complaining about price at all. You gonna pitch it or ditch it?
We're gonna pitch this one, and we're going to
That's a shark.
Yeah, I like
we're
them.
gonna adjust our margin to meet what would make our end comfortable with this road trip we're going on. So
Maybe we have to overnight stay, per diem, more gas mileage. You know, if it's 3 hours away, well, they're working 8 hours in that day, so 3 of the hours is already gone, 3 hours coming back, so it might make sense to stay over. So you're just going to make sure, as long as the pricing's right, we'll fly tonight.
if the price is right, yes, because you just
Yeah.
got back from, we have jobs coming in from different states, and we don't turn them away. I don't think that's good business. If anything, we should try to assist them in any way possible. And if the price is right, then we're going on a flight.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Matt, because I think about some of these out-of-state jobs that we've done. They are big ticket items, but one in particular, the very first one we ever did, which came off the backs of social media, by the way, we have since gotten 2 more homes, and each one's been larger. So if we turn that down, what would that would have never happened.
Okay, speaking of social media,
Yeah.
new opportunity comes through. You price it at the margin that you feel comfortable with for this job. The customer says, I'd like a little bit of a discount. However, I'm willing to make a couple pieces of content around this and they have a big following and they're going to post it across their platforms. Are you willing to give a customer a discount based on this opportunity?
I'll pitch it.
Pitch it.
I'll pitch it because, like we just said, there's a lot of value in that. We were discovered on social media, and we've gotten multiple six-figure jobs out of it. So,
how do you ensure that they're going to that? Because obviously they can't do the content until the job's done, and you've already given the discount, obviously. So how do you ensure that that's actually happening?
well, we could make a deal with them that some of the content they do it while we're in the process.
Okay.
Just kind of following along the process or something of that nature. So that way when it does get to the end, if they don't honor the rest of it, at least you're not empty-handed.
All right, Matt, you get the last one. And if Jay, you want to rebuttal on this, that's fine as well. A builder agrees to go with your all-glass wine cellar proposal and interior glass railings. After he gives you the approval, he realizes that he's got 3 bathrooms that need mirrors. But he wants you to throw these in for free. Otherwise, no deal. You're going to pitch it or ditch it?
Not an immediate ditch, but I would say, how do you expect us to do that? And then, I'm giving you this job, so you got to do these. Say, all right, well, maybe we're not the, right fit for you. That's it. I'm gonna say I'm gonna ditch this one, but I'm gonna get a rep in real quick. I'm gonna see.
Well, you're gonna see how hard
he's willing to go for this. Yeah.
Right. What about you, Jay?
I'm gonna say this is a situational thing, because if this were a builder that we do a lot of work with and we've already reaped the rewards, then maybe we're willing to help them out. At the same time, that builder knows that we helped them out and will eventually reciprocate. Maybe it's, hey, I'm building a spec house. Why don't you whatever that costs, just throw it into the spec house, right? It's my money anyways.
Well, boys, that's all I have on this episode of how to deal with difficult customers in situations. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add on any of these topics?
I want to bring something up because we just recently came across it. This is something that we see every now and then, and I want to know what your take is on it, because I can tell you mine. When a contractor approaches you and you're about to meet with him and his customer and they say, don't talk about price, how do you feel about that?
Well, my initial reaction is the guy's a slime ball, because that is not being transparent. And any good builder-customer relationship is 100% based on transparency, because the homeowner knows, well, wait a second, I found the glass guy and he's giving the price to you and then you're giving the price to me, so you're putting your hands in the cookie jar, but I'm doing all the work. What are you actually doing? And in reality, a lot of times the builder is doing something. He's managing all the other tradesmen that are going to prepare that area for us. He's going to schedule us, basically babysit us to ensure the customer is getting what they paid for. But I don't like when builders start to do that, because that's a red flag for me. What are they doing? Are they putting an egregious markup on it and then giving them the price, so now the customer thinks we're just highly priced? The best builders are the ones that say, hey, we say, well, when we go out there, what happens if the customer asks us what the price is? Well, don't tell them. Well, if I was the customer and I said, oh, you're the glass professional, how much is this going to cost? And you're like, I don't know. Now I question how much you actually know about your industry.
That's right.
So the builder's already putting you in a kind of in a corner to begin with. So how do I feel about that? I don't like it. That doesn't mean I'm not willing to take on the project, but I don't like when builders do that. That's a major red flag.
That was going to be my next question. Will you take on the project? Yeah,
I absolutely would. I would entertain it and see where it goes from there. If it starts getting even worse from there, then it might be worth bowing out, just telling the builder, you know what, I don't know that we're the right subcontractor for this project.
Well, I think one of the other things they don't realize too is these homeowners could be out shopping on their own. So now if the homeowner walks in, doesn't tell us they're working with a contractor, gets, kind of some ballpark pricing, and then now he goes and he's tacking on $5,000.
Yep.
They're like, what the hell is this?
Yep.
So it puts everyone in a precarious situation.
Yeah.
Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
I would question the intention behind it, and you can't really do that without knowing the builder. So let me try to tell you where I'm going with this. I heard this quote before. I think it's, if you hear hooves, it could be a zebra, but it's most likely a horse. So we're assuming that this red flag of, hey, let's not talk to the customer about the price, is a horse. It's common. It's what they all want to do. They want to make more money for themselves, but it also could be a zebra. And, maybe this is the type of customer that doesn't want to be bogged down in price. Maybe this is the type of customer that when you do a walkthrough and you bring in all these tradesmen, that the tradesmen aren't over there talking their ear off, trying to upsell them, talking numbers, because that's the last thing they want to worry about. When they hire a builder, this guy takes all this shit. He deals with it all himself, and then he provides me a number at the end. And at the end of the day, if I like the number, there's nothing to complain about. So I think we got to try to figure out the intention behind it, because sure, it could be slimy, but also with money comes a lot of, passing on responsibilities to someone else, and maybe that's what they're doing. The last thing I want is when I get something that the upselling and the upselling and the upselling. So let the builder deal with it, keep the price out of it, and if I like the number at the end of the day, there's no problem.
I have to say, I love that quote.
It's really, that came out of left field, but you killed it.
This moment of Zen brought to you by Matthew Francino.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode of Trade Talk. Great job, guys. We hope that you enjoyed this. And if you do, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and send us in any topics that you want to hear us discuss. But until next time.
See you then.